Here is Michelle, who is listening to us on WFIL in Philadelphia. Hi there. Thanks for calling New Life Live.
Yeah, quick question without going through a whole lot of rigmarole, as I hear some people do on the radio. But anyway, I've been married for 47 years, and in that 47 years, we've given our life to Christ. I was raised up in a Christian home, backslid as a teenager, but came back to God. Um, my husband has had a pornography problem and female problem for years. Um, and I've asked him to seek deliverance. He did finally go through a deliverance class. He's not a bad person. He's worked, helped take care of the family. I've worked as well. Um, he had a son before we got married. I had a son before we got married. But to make a long story short, we have four other children after that. Is He's still at his age in the 70s now, has been on social media, and I'm just finding out that he's been talking with women, and some women that weren't real, they were AI, and he's wanting to send them so-called cards that they asked him for. In the nutshell, also, our son and our daughter and son-in-law and their children live with us only because rent was high for them. And our oldest son that I had out of wedlock, he was living with us because his marriage broke up, and he ended up getting shot by the wife's boyfriend, which I had warned him not to go there. But anyway, make a long story short is, for years they both have constantly turned against me. I'm a no-sense person. I'm saved in the Lord. I believe in holiness. I believe in living, how should I say, letting the Word of God examine myself every day before I look at others, to examine myself. What I did is I wrote my husband a four-page letter, because I just found out a month and a half ago or so that he was back on the social media with these women. But my son, he ended up blindsiding me with an attitude that was just very, very demonic.
Wow.
Because he felt like I didn't speak to his dad the way that I should have spoke to him when I came in from work.
Wow.
I spoke to my husband. I said, hello. And I said, I realized as I was going into our dining room area, our son was in the kitchen. I didn't think he was home from work yet. And so I said, hi, son, how are you? I said, I'm taking my boots off. I've got to go lay down. I didn't tell them that, because my blood pressure was high. I normally don't mention those kind of things to people. But anyway, my husband ended up having a seizure that night. I was in the bedroom. We live on a rancher. And my daughter, I heard her screaming, hollering, dial 911, dial 911. So I jumped up and ran out the room. Our son was already out there. My husband was in the kitchen on the floor, and our daughter was down on the floor working on him.
Oh, no.
And so she was hollering about dial 911, and I didn't know she had asked our son to help turn her dad over, because our son and her don't speak. And it's not because she doesn't want to speak to him. He doesn't. When he takes an attitude towards people, he could not speak to him for over years.
Michelle, this is so complex. It's just unbelievable what all you have been going through. And then you have this medical emergency. Your husband has a seizure, but it sounds like something was also building between you and your son. What happened between you and your son?
Well, because I had gotten on him last year about that he could help. Well, our daughter, she had started it, and she had said to him, she said, you can at least pay mommy and daddy at least something while you're living here. She said, we're paying, my husband and I, we're paying money a month. And it's not the fact that we're angry.
Your daughter said he should pay some rent. Is he still living with you, your son?
No, I put him out.
You put him out. Okay. All right.
I put him out.
Is that the question?
Well, yes, because the fact that every so often, I believe it's a trick of the enemy that's trying to make me think that I was wrong, that I should have kept him there to try to show him Christ. He was raised up in a Christian home, but I feel like I did right, and I have to always come back to my thought. I have also separated myself from doing a lot of things for my husband. So I did give him a 5-page letter that I'm learning to walk back to me now.
And your question, I think, is whether or not you did right by putting your son out of the house. So you certainly were within your right, and you may have also needed to do that because your son was not willing to be responsible, either financially, but he was also mistreating you. And so from what you've told us, it sounds like you took a step to keep yourself and your household safe, at least when it came to the mistreatment of your son. So as you wonder, oh, did I do the right thing? I think it always hurts a mother's heart to have to hold a hard line with a child that may lead to crisis for him or suffering for him. But sometimes that is the best way we can love our child, because it doesn't help them to tolerate abusive treatment, financial abuse and verbal abuse. It's not loving to tolerate those things because it enables your son to continue to mistreat you.
And the emotional abuse of walking around your house not speaking to people for however long he does that. And so I think that, as Alice said, you were well within your rights to do that. And as far as your husband and his sexual integrity issues, I think sending you Dr. Sherry Keffer's book would probably benefit you. And Restore is coming up that may be beneficial for you, but it sounds like you've already set some boundaries and put some space, and you're limiting how much you are doing for him. I would also take a look at your finances. If your finances are shared, that might be something to make sure you manage well and protect. But work with someone. Get with a good Christian counselor in your area that can help you navigate these difficult family system issues.
Michelle, like you, I strongly believe in spiritual warfare and the presence of the enemy, the activity of the enemy. And what we try to do at New Life is combine our knowledge and belief about the Bible and the spiritual warfare, the activity of the enemy, while also joining it to the therapeutic steps that really act out what the Bible tells us to do. Things like the boundaries we need to put into place when people mistreat us, or when a husband is willing to do a deliverance ministry, a deliverance class, but has not yet stopped the infidelity actions. So then we take both prayer, like you're doing, what the word says, and then how a therapist can help us enact all of that. So we can draw a line to say, I'm not willing to put up with this, and I need you to get professional help in addition to the pastoral help you've received, because I'm not willing to allow this to continue in our household. That is so much easier said than done. So Michelle, that's partly why we want to connect you with a counselor so that we can help strengthen your spiritual beliefs and putting them into action to keep yourself and your household safe.
So stay on the phone and we'll send you a copy of Dr. Sherry Keffer's book, Intimate Deception. And we also strongly recommend that you attend the Restore Healing After Betrayal Intensive. That is happening May 2nd through the 4th in Dallas, Texas. Now, for your husband, he should probably go to the Every Man's Battle Intensive. That's happening next weekend. It's for men dealing with sexual integrity issues, like in the case of your husband who's on social media and even having these conversations with women that aren't even real. I mean, that's not a question that we probably would have had on the program 5 or 10 years ago, but it is the reality now.